Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today we are checking out 11 things not to do in Australia. Must see before you go. So before you plan anything on going to Australia, check this video. It will help for sure. And we'll learn a few things here. So let's watch till the end together. Learn two or three things. Let's get on with it. Don't forget, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get on with the video.
Australia is many things. It's a continent that makes up the sixth largest country in the world and is home to some of the most dangerous creatures on the planet. And no, I'm not just talking about Australia.
Yeah, I do know Australia has a lot of dangerous creatures,
With a little over 8.5 million people visiting each year, tourism is a huge part of Australia's economy. That being said, there are a number of things to look out for when you're there. So let's get right into it.
Oh yeah.
Number 1. Don't stray from the path. With over 66 different venomous species, which is the third largest concentration in the world, by the way, it's important to know where you are at all times. Now, this is especially true if you plan on trekking.
Yeah, there's like some sort of ants that bite really hard or something, because I do know, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that there is some ants that actually like are dangerous. I'm not sure if they're poisonous, probably not, but I think they bite pretty hard.
Trekking or camping in the outback, with things like the common brown snake, box jellyfish, and crocodiles. There's no shortage of dangerous animals here, so it's important that you stay on the path when you're exploring. And that goes for warning signs as well, because while it may seem funny to some people from different countries, here they're very real and should be taken seriously.
Cute little animals. Aww.
Number 2. Don't underestimate the cost. Australia is known for having one of the highest living costs in the world, and traveling there is no different. Now, of course, this is all subjective depending on where you go and where you're from, but it still might surprise you to hear that a beer costs around $9 Australian dollars.
What?
And a meal at a mid-range restaurant.
Wait, $9 Australian dollars. I'm not sure how much that is in euros. Not sure.
Costs around 40. Now, all in all, if you're really trying to save money, you can get it down to around 100 Australian dollars per day. And I'll just throw that number out there as an average. But between transportation, food, and lodging, the prices can get a bit expensive. So it's important that you price out your trip accordingly. Number 3, and this is a short one. Don't say shrimp on the barbie. Now, this phrase was popularized by a 1980s ad with Paul Hogan, who was later in Crocodile Dundee, and it was sponsored by the Australian Tourism Commission to try to bring in international travelers. But this is absolutely not what an Australian would say. If they would even use that phrase at all, they would say prawn, not shrimp. So don't make it more annoying than it already is.
Wow, that is a nice building.
Number 4, drinking in Australia. Now for this one, I'm mainly talking about major cities, specifically Sydney, so don't quote me on the rest of the country. But in Sydney, you can't get a beer after 1:30 in the morning because they have something called a lockout law, which means no one is allowed in or out of bars past that point in time. And their last call is at 3 in the morning. And of course, don't drink and try and drive because they have one of the lowest blood alcohol content levels, 0.05, before you can be arrested.
Okay, that is for sure. Drinking and driving is a no. Totally no, man.
And last but not least, don't order Foster's beer. That's not an Australian thing, that's an American thing. Instead, try and order a bottle of Bundaberg. My Aussie friends will know why I'm laughing. Number 5. Don't underestimate its size. Australia is a country with about 25 million people, and because it's a continent, it's made up of almost 7.6 million square kilometers. And despite the fact that the majority of its population is clustered around the coasts, in urban areas, it still means that as a tourist, it's going to take a long time to get from place to place. So it's important to take a look at exactly how long it's going to take you to complete your itinerary. Number 6. don't always tip. Now, unlike some countries, tipping isn't required in Australia, and that's mainly because their minimum wage is the highest in the world, at around $18.93 an hour. Now, in places like the US, waitstaff require tips to earn a living wage, because the national minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. Now, if you have great service, for sure you should tip the person. All I'm saying is you won't be scorned like in the US if you don't. Number 7. Don't rely on public transport. Now, because Australia is so big and so spread out, public transport is difficult to find outside major cities. It's not like Europe where you can take a train to a small town, hop off, and then hop onto another train to another small town. Australia is just too big for that to be feasible. So you're better off finding other ways to get around.
Yeah. Transport is expensive.
Number 8. Don't talk about immigration. Now, forgive me if I have to generalize a bit in order to get the point across, but for the most part, many Australians dislike the way that the government handles immigration, whether they're anti-immigration or whether they're disgusted by the way the government handles refugees. Of course, there's all the people in between, but the bottom line is that immigration is a big deal in Australia, and it's easier to avoid the topic. Number 9. Don't take anything personally. Now, Australians always seem to be joking around, and insults are one of the ways that they do that. But don't make the mistake of thinking they mean anything by it. There's a funny saying where you know that an Australian doesn't like you if they don't insult you, because it means that they actually think there's something wrong with you and that it'll offend you. Go figure. So take everything with a grain of salt.
Interesting.
Number 10. Don't be afraid to say hello. Australians have a pretty well-deserved reputation for being laid back. And like I was talking about before with the kidding around, they're good at taking things in stride, which makes it easy as a tourist to make friends. And talking to people is a must. Last but not least, number 11. Make sure you enjoy Australia. Australia is such a cool place with so many fun and interesting people.
That is a big
There's
fish.
so much to do there. It's important to keep in mind that these are all general guidelines and tips that I find out while I was there. And I'm sure you'll have a fantastic time while you're there.
Wow. Wow, that was a really enjoyable video. Those were 11 things not to do in Australia. So I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I totally want to check those out. And let me know what other videos you want me to react to. Either to do with Australia, any other countries. Let me know. That was it for today. We'll see you on the next video. Peace out.